We're coming up on the year anniversary of my mom's death, and I've been thinking a lot about the impact that the loss of a parent can have on people. My mom and I had a very complicated relationship. And I never expected her death to affect me the way it has. There's a stability in the world that is incredibly easy to take for granted. And I feel like that stability is gone. And I'm not sure what I mean by that. Like, an emotional stability, maybe. There's a vulnerability in me that I feel like didn't exist before. I used to think that once I didn't have the heaviness of my mom, that things would be so much better. And that is not the case. It's like the things. It's like the things that you think are permanent are not. And I don't know how you get past that. I don't know how I mean, look, I knew she wasn't going to live forever, right? None of us do. But how do you come to terms with that? How do you make peace with that? How do you make peace with knowing that every person that you love, every creature that you love, everything is going to be gone? And I do believe that we exist beyond death. But it's not really very easy to get in touch with those loved ones in that other realm. And really, we're not supposed to be caught up in trying to be in touch with them, right? Because we're supposed to continue living. We're supposed to continue being present. We're supposed to continue being here on this plane, in this reality, in this whatever you want to call it. So we can't spend our days trying to find those that have passed. We're supposed to continue on with the burden of living. And I don't mean that in a suicidal way, so nobody freak out. But we're supposed to continue on, right? But how the fuck am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to celebrate my birthday without my mother? She would call me every birthday at the time I was born and tell me, "You've just come into the world." And then tell me the same story of how I was born and how they were supposed to go to a picnic that day, but I had other plans. It was a really nice day, and they were kind of looking forward to the picnic. And then she spent 11 hours in labor and ended up having a C-section, and so I did just have my birthday recently, and between my best friend and my husband, I was not alone that day, and my in-laws, but the person who has known me from the moment I was conceived isn't there anymore. It's weird. It's weird. And my mom died on October 15th, 2023. I don't even remember. I don't remember Halloween last year. I don't remember Christmas last year. And I don't know how I'm supposed to celebrate anything this year. And I've been pretty busy over the summer, so that kept me distracted. But things are slowing down, and I have too much time on my hands. I hope this isn't being picked up by the mic. I'm fidgeting with it, but I just don't know. I just don't know. I know that grief is not linear. But my grief is also pushing me into kind of dangerous places. I have depression and I have anxiety, and I'm on medication for both. And I feel like sometimes that grief is pushing me down towards that pit, that darkness. My mom always wanted me to live my life. She had a stroke a few years back, quite a few years back actually. And she needed someone to assist her with, laundry, daily life. And she would say to me, I don't want you to worry about taking care of me. I want you to live your life. The last thing my mother said to me was, don't cry. And I know what she meant by that. She meant live your life. But it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. And it doesn't seem fair. My mother hadn't even made it to her 69th birthday. She wasn't supposed to die. She got sick suddenly, and she passed away very quickly, which on the one hand was good because the things that were wrong were not fixable. And so it was probably better that she went as quickly as she did. But It was like 2 weeks. And at the time, being my mother's only child, you know, I had to take care of everything. I was her. It was her medical power of attorney, whatever. And I'm so very thankful that my aunts came and helped with that. But what that meant for me was, like, I'm very take care of the situation now, deal with your emotions and the consequences of all of that shit much later. And so even though it was 2 weeks of sleeping in the hospital or sleeping really poorly when I wasn't sleeping at the hospital, even though it was 2 weeks, it wasn't really enough time to come to the... It wasn't really enough time to, you know, when someone has a protracted illness and they've been sick for so very long, you have that time to prepare. And that's my cat, if you hear her. It just wasn't enough time. It just wasn't enough time. And I do this a lot with people that I love. Death always seems to take me by surprise. It's like some part of me somewhere thinks that we're gonna live forever. Even though, like, rationally, I know it's not true. I don't know what to do. My mom raised me by herself. This is she raised me by herself. For 17 years of my life. It was just the two of us. And it still feels like she was really the only person who understood me completely. She was the only person who really knew me, who really saw me. I remember when I told my mom that I was back in my day, this was the only term we had, so. But I told my mom I was bisexual. And I remember my mom just said, I know. And I thought to myself, how did you know? I only just figured it out. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what I said to her. It didn't matter what I was, what I am. She didn't care because I was her daughter. And so even with all the shitty things, I knew that there was one person on this planet who understood me and accepted me completely. And my husband and my best friend, they get me, they see me, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Oh gosh. Okay, so if you're still watching, I think this is my point. Maybe. You may think that you know how you're gonna feel. But you don't. And if there's anyone at all in your life that you love, that you're having difficulty with, tell your ego to back off. And go and make peace. Now, I didn't say make amends. Make peace. Some people are never going to change. They just are who they are. They're not going to learn. They're not going to change. That doesn't mean that you can't make peace with that and with them. Because at some point, they're not going to be around anymore. And your opportunity to have that talk will be gone. So, I am lucky that I was able to have talks with my mom over the years, and that we were able to acknowledge the things that we'd both done in the past and get past those. And even having reconciled with my mom, every day since she died, there has been something that I've thought, I should share this with my mom. I should tell my mom about this. That opportunity is gone. And again, I do believe that she still exists on another plane, in another place. But it's not that easy for us to communicate once they've passed on. And even if I could, it still wouldn't be the same as her actually being here. So, make what peace you can, so that at least when the time comes, you'll know in your heart that you did everything that you could, regardless of how that other person responds to you. You did what you could do. And there is, despite my tears, there is some peace in that. So maybe that's my answer, right? Maybe that's how I make peace with knowing that everyone you love is going to pass away, or you're going to pass away. Maybe that's how you make peace with it, is by not letting those things get in the way, in making the peace that you need to make for yourself. Make that phone call, write a letter, write an email, send a text. But don't wait. I had just been on vacation that July. I think it was July. And visited my mom. And 3 months later, she was dead. So, don't wait. You don't have the time you think you do. So go out there and make peace. Make peace for yourself at the very least.